What most Americans innocently put into their bodies these days, and most alarmingly, into the bodies of their children. And it's no coincidence that Americans die earlier than Canadians or Germans or Italians or Japanese or Koreans or Australians or most any other comparable country. We're having epidemics of all these chronic illnesses, autoimmune diseases, neurological diseases, allergic diseases.
We all have our guilty pleasures, but some foods are so unhealthy that even just a little can do a number on your body.
Actually counterbalance that added sugar. And the same goes for artificial colors and dyes that go into there. Those colors are getting made in a lab.
You might love them, crave them, and even defend them. But let's be real, these foods aren't doing you any favors. And yes, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is practically begging Americans to put them down.
And FDA to doing the research to understand the relationship between these different food additives.
What are the foods that Americans need to stop eating? What are the reasons behind Robert's prayers? In this video, we will look at 20 foods that Americans need to stop eating,
so that Americans understand it and make sure that Americans are aware. But I don't want to take food away from anybody.
Potato chips. Potato chips are everywhere. They're at parties, in lunch boxes, and stacked on the store shelves in flashy bags that make them impossible to ignore.
This is my bag of Ruffles potato chips.
And once you open a bag, it's game over. No one eats just one. But the sad reality is that these crispy, salty slices of heaven are doing serious damage to your body, bite by bite. First, let's talk about sodium overload. A single 8-ounce bag of plain chips can contain up to 1,200 milligrams of sodium. That's well over half the daily recommended intake from the World Health Organization. And let's be real, most of us eat way more than the suggested serving size. What happens when you take in too much salt? Your body retains water, making you feel bloated and sluggish. Not to mention, high sodium levels can spike your blood pressure, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke over time. But the problems don't stop there. Chips are deep fried, just like French fries, meaning they soak up unhealthy fats that contribute to weight gain and clogged arteries. And because they're designed to stay crispy for months, they're often loaded with preservatives that don't belong in your body. Let's also not forget about acrylamides, which are chemicals that form when starchy foods are fried at high temperatures. Studies suggest acrylamides could be linked to an increased risk of cancer. And while research is ongoing, do you really want to take that risk for a handful of chips? If you're shocked by this, what other food items are even more dangerous? Brace yourself. The most shocking part is still ahead. French fries. French fries might just be one of the hardest foods to give up. They're served with burgers, piled high on plates at diners, and come in a red carton that practically calls your name at drive-thrus. But here's the brutal truth. These crispy golden potato sticks are health nightmares. A plain baked potato, about 93 calories and hardly any fat. Deep fry it into fries, you're now looking at 310 calories and 14.7 grams of fat per 100 grams. That's not just a minor jump, it's a full-on transformation from harmless veggie to a fat-soaked disaster. But the real danger isn't just the extra calories. It's what happens during the deep frying process. Potatoes lose water and absorb loads of oil. And that oil isn't the good kind. It's often packed with trans fats and saturated fats, both of which raise bad cholesterol and increase the risk of heart disease. And let's talk about portion sizes. No one ever eats just a handful of fries. A large order, that can easily top 500 calories, and if you dip them in mayo or cheese sauce, you're just stacking on more unhealthy fats. To make matters worse, fried foods have been linked to inflammation and an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. So what's the solution? You don't have to say goodbye to fries forever, but you should definitely make them at home using an air fryer or oven. You'll still get that crispy bite, but with way less oil, fewer unhealthy fats, and none of the regret. Breakfast cereals. Breakfast cereals might seem like a harmless way to start your morning, but don't be fooled by the bright packaging and health claims. Many cereals are nothing more than sugar bombs disguised as breakfast. A single serving can contain up to 18 grams of sugar, about 5 teaspoons, which is dangerously close to the daily limit of 9 teaspoons for men and 6 for women. And let's be honest, when was the last time you actually measured out a single serving?
Typical mom on a family farm in pre-industrial agrarian times.
Most people pour double that amount without even realizing it. But sugar isn't the only problem. Most cereals are made from refined grains, which means the natural fiber and nutrients have been stripped away during processing. This leads to quick digestion, blood sugar spikes, and energy crashes, leaving you hungry way before lunchtime. Over time, this pattern increases the risk of weight gain, insulin resistance, and even type 2 diabetes.
This is not to say all cereals are bad, because it is still a healthier choice for your kids. I know my kids eat cereal.
And then there are the artificial additives. Many cereals contain preservatives, artificial flavors, and food dyes, some of which have been linked to hyperactivity in children and other health issues. Even the ones labeled whole grain or high fiber often contain hidden sugars and processed ingredients. For a better breakfast, opt for whole grain oats, plain yogurt with fresh fruit or eggs.
Actually counterbalance that added sugar. And the same goes for artificial colors and dyes that go into there.
Your body deserves real food, not a bowl of candy disguised as a morning meal. Noodles is another possible morning meal, but you might want to rethink your next meal after this. Instant noodles. Instant ramen may be the ultimate quick meal, but it's far from a healthy one.
Today, we investigate instant soups and ramen noodles.
While it's cheap, convenient, and undeniably tasty, it's also loaded with sodium, unhealthy fats, and practically no real nutrition. A single serving can contain up to 1,500 milligrams of sodium, about 3/4 of the recommended daily limit. And since most people eat the entire package, they're consuming nearly a full day's worth of salt in one sitting. What's the problem with too much sodium? It makes your body retain water, leading to bloating, high blood pressure, and increased strain on your heart.
Might make your favorite instant soup a little healthier. As you point out, you can actually use half the packet of seasoning.
Over time, a high sodium diet raises the risk of heart disease, stroke, and kidney issues. And let's not forget the little seasoning packet. It's packed with artificial flavor enhancers like MSG, which some people say cause dizziness, headaches, and nausea. The noodles themselves aren't any better. To give them that long shelf life, they're often deep fried before packaging, meaning they're loaded with unhealthy trans fats. These fats clog arteries, raise bad cholesterol levels, and increase the risk of obesity and heart disease. If you love ramen, try making a healthier version with fresh noodles, low-sodium broth, and real vegetables. As Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, "I pray all Americans stop eating these foods, and instant ramen is definitely one of them."
As long as you know how to set this strange device up,